Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Shrine of Anubis. So, if you are new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back and nice to see you again. Tonight, I want to talk about an interesting article that I came across back in April 9th on the Dailymail, I believe. And it's quite an interesting article. It's sex spell that would force a man into bed with his female admirer is discovered on ancient Egyptian papyrus. Papyrus? Anyways, what this article is about in a nutshell is that this woman was invoking Anubis. She did this sex spell and dedicated it to Anubis so that he would haunt this man until this man would eventually give in and have sex with her. Now, what is interesting about this spell is that the petition itself explains that it is very explicit in nature. It specifies of wanting him to suffer the pangs of love sickness. He can't eat, he can't drink, or can't do anything but follow her hopelessly and, I want to talk about sex spells here for a second, and I know that is controversial. Like, oh my god, how old am I on YouTube? Like 2 months old or something, and I am already talking about sex here. However, I really want to get into this because someone sent me this article and I was freaking out when I saw that this woman back in that day was working with Anubis, and I'm quoting the article. The following drawing invokes the spirit of Anubis, and he is shown shooting the victim, and the man is shown with very emphasized genitals. So in a nutshell, what the drawing is about is Anubis shooting this man with an arrow directly to his cock. Who knows what is the meaning of that behind this drawing? My impression behind the drawing is that it's a symbolism of targeting an area to make the person specifically lust the target after the worker or the owner that sent the worker to do the job, because it is said in this article that the woman paid somebody to do the work for her. Now, what is interesting about this whole thing of this woman invoking Anubis to make a man lust after her is that it's quite rare in my experience to see Anubis doing love workings or sex spells and things like that. It is something that I definitely have not heard about from anybody that I ever met in the past, 5 to 6 or 7 years. And I am sure there are people out there who may work with Anubis specifically for sex work and love working. But in my experience for the past 10 years, I've never worked with Anubis for a love work or a sex work at all. And the reason why is simply because of his title. I know that he is the god of embalming now, but I believe that before that, he was originally the Lord of the Dead, before Osiris replaced him. And if you have studied history, if you are an archaeologist, if you are an actual Kemetic practitioner or Kemetic follower, feel free to correct me if I am wrong on this. But the reason why I don't work with him for love stuff or sex stuff is that due to his titles and his nature, in my opinion, it's a little bit like, I don't know. I'll be honest, I'll just say it how I see it. It makes me feel uncomfortable to work with Anubis for a sex spell when he is the Lord of the Dead or the God of Embalming now. And the reason why it makes me feel uncomfortable is because I feel that the energies do not match. And when the energies do not match, I would rather not insist on doing it because it is very likely that the work will not do anything to the target. Now, some of you might say, oh, this is just a faith thing or intentional thing. You need to be in the right headspace in order to make it work. But to be honest, in my heart of hearts, I just don't think that I could do that type of work with Anubis. But now here we have this woman, who knows how many hundreds or thousands of years ago, working with someone that worked with Anubis for a lust spell. Now, it could be possible that Anubis can rule that area as well. And the reason why I say this is because I am not the only one who has had a sexual reaction with him while working with him. And I have known devotees of his who also experience the same thing. They feel a sexual attraction towards him. They have had sexual interactions with him, whether astrally based or physically, where they intentionally self-pleasure in honor of Anubis. Myself included. Like, come on. If I'm being honest, why just not go out once and for all and just put it out there? Thank fuck I'm not showing my face. Otherwise, you guys would see me super embarrassed and super red. But anyways, let's just go there once and for all and address the jackal in the room. I could talk so much about this part, but for the sake of this video, I want to focus it on this interesting article. And again, if you work with Anubis, maybe you have done love works or sex works with him. And if so, I want to know your experience. So let me know down below in the comments section. What do you think? Have you worked with Anubis for a love spell, a lust spell, a sex spell? Or do you not work with him? And if not, explain why. In my case, it's because I just feel that the energies do not match. The Lord of the Dead or God of Embalming with sex just makes no sense to me. Especially when you are forcing someone to go against their free will to do something for you. This is why I do not work with Anubis for love spells or sex spells or lust or anything like that, because a majority of the time people approach me for domination. They want to dominate their husband, or they want to dominate someone to fall in love with them, to lust after them. Like, for example, this woman in this article that I just explained to you guys back in the day, who wanted this man to specifically lust after her and to not be able to live, eat, drink, sleep without lusting after her. So her spell work, her intention for this spell work is domination and lust. And this is something I feel clashes with what Anubis stands for. which is why I was so bewildered when I saw this article on the Dailymail UK. And I know that for people out there in the UK, the Dailymail, it's not exactly a reputable source. So I don't know how reputable this source may be, although there are names being given, pictures being shown. So I would not question it. However, again, like I mentioned, I wanted to share this video with you guys about this article that I read not long ago because I found it interesting that someone back in the day would use Anubis for something entirely different. Because, again, he was the ancient god of the dead before Osiris came around. So how are you going to mix something entirely different like the dead, the afterlife, or even embalming with penis stuff and lust work and domination? It's like a combo of domination and lust spell. And it doesn't match. And I wanted to share this concern with you because it could be a possibility that Anubis can do this work. But like I mentioned before, it would have to be justified. In the article, it is specified that it is unclear whether the spell worked or not, which I find interesting. But again, it's been such a long ass time ago that of course there's not really going to be any evidence. We will never know if this spell really did work or not. However, I would say that Anubis could frown upon this type of work and may not even do the work at all, simply because violating someone's free will is something that he is against. And I believe I explained this in one of the first videos that I talked about who Anubis is and what he does, plus best spells with him. In that second video in this channel, I explained what spells I considered to be the best when you work with Anubis. And I'll put, I don't know, a tag somewhere in this video where you can watch that one if you haven't already. And I explained that one of the spells I do not use when working with him is love work, if I am not mistaken, because at this point I don't remember. Because again, it involves violating someone's free will for your benefit, and that is something that Anubis frowns upon, because Anubis is the waiter of hearts. For fuck's sake! For fuck's sake! How the fuck are you going to invoke Anubis, the waiter of hearts, the one who is part of the judgment in the afterlife, part of the gang? How are you going to work with him to help you to violate someone's free will and to dominate them and make them go against their own wishes, their own free will, to follow you or do your will? Of course, Anubis is not going to do that. And I might be mistaken, I don't know. But right now, I am not thinking about, oh, it's all intention, just put it out there and he'll help you. No. I am being logical based on what I've read about him. And what I've read about him so far implies that he is part of the judgment in the afterlife. Because of this, he will see your actions, whether they have been good or not. This is why I believe, again, UPG, personal experience, this is why I would not have not, and I don't think I will work with him for domination work when it comes to love. I might work with him to fuck a bitch up if this person is bringing me conflicts. But if I want to manipulate someone's free will, I know he will not be involved. And he has made it clear. There has been times where I've wanted to do curses with him, but he flat out tells me no. He doesn't explain himself. You might know that. If you work with him, you know that he does not explain himself at all. He is very direct with his answers, and you should respect that. And again, I might be wrong about all this. Maybe you have been working with Anubis for years and you have done domination work and lust spells and sex or love workings. So, again, I'm just speaking on personal experience and personal opinions as well. But I want to invite you to let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments section down below. Have you worked with Anubis for a lust spell? A domination spell? Did it work or not? Or do you prefer to not work with him for that reason? Have you also received a hint from him that he's not going to help you out with that? Let me know down below in the comments section. In my case, in a nutshell, I would not work with Anubis for dominating someone's free will, manipulating their free will, and bending them to my will. I think that it's quite unethical, and Anubis really lets me know when I am doing something unethical, which is why I don't work with him for that type of stuff. But again, that's just my personal experience and opinion. It will differ from yours, of course. And I do not intend to change that. So, I'll leave you with that. And before I let you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell button, and click on See All so that you get all the notifications of all the future uploads that I'll be making on this channel. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye!